Hello and welcome to the iRacing Le Mans Series live on Apex Racing TV. We are just lining up here at Circuit of the Americas for round 3 of the championship. And it should be a very good round 3 of the championship. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me is Tyler Vickery as we get away here at Circuit of the Americas. And Tyler, could you take away the start from me?
Well, my issue right now, for some reason, I can't see anything right now. Sorry.
Yes, I am just having the same issue, but we'll soon have it sorted out, I'm sure. Marco, can you see what's going on?
Yes, I can, and I will move you through the first part of the broadcast with Tommaso, Carla, Farrow, and Hamilton. They are the first three guys to come to the first corner in the LMP1 field. We have one big split, and we have Johan Hart here with... there's an LMP1, Ricardo Almeida, going into the grass. And let's see the GT start with Pascal Stix that made the switch from the LMP2s to the GTs. Josh Thompson and Muhammad Patel in P3 as well. So guys, should be a very nice event. This one, a single split. Many drivers are on the in a holiday mood, but the one that stayed back, I think they are ready for a great race today.
Yes, hopefully they can keep their concentration up today. I'm just looking at the GTE field, getting very close at the turn 9 hairpin, I believe that is. But of course, Tommaso Carla getting a very good start in the LMP1 seemingly.
Absolutely. It's now my screen is now finally fixed. Already, the Tommaso Clara is already pulling a 1.5 second gap on the leaders, but still a great battle between first and second, between second and third by Matt J. Farrow and Marcus Hamilton as well.
Yeah, really close in that battle just behind. Hopefully we're going to see a good LMP1 battle today. I think we had a good one at Sebring, but Patrick Wolf just was able to pull away near the end. And, well, hopefully we'll see a repeat of that, but, competitive all the way to the finish, hopefully, this time.
Absolutely.
We just see Lemire just starting his second lap of the race.
Is it still showing scenic mode for you, right? Oh.
Sorry for the technical issues currently going on. We were quite rushed because there's no qualifying for this season.
Yep, as we're now looking at the LMP2's Johan Hart actually is holding a lead, but he's got Neil M. Enders right behind him right now, only 0.2 of a second on the long back straightaway. He's biding his time right now, trying to see what he can do on being able to make a pass. But like you said from last week, Johan Hart likes using the high downforce setup, and he'll have a lot of advantages in the short corners, unlike the long straight where he'll have a lot of his competitors catch up to him very quick.
Here comes Josh Thompson. Great to see him in a GTE car. I don't think I've seen this combination before, but he's a master of anything now he puts his mind to, and he's right on the tail currently of Pascal Stix. Started on pole position to Josh Thompson, but I think just losing out actually to Pascal Stix, or trying to fight back after losing the lead on the opening lap. That Ford GT still got a slight advantage, at least I believe, although many more Ferraris seemingly in the field. Currently, I think it's the Porsche currently the slow bunch compared to the other. But Thompson, of course, we've seen plenty on Apex Racing TV. Hopefully, we'll get an interview with him. Getting really close here, going into turn 1, and we've seen over the years, particularly in F1, how you can come from a long way back. Of course, uphill, it's something like 30 meters tall. This climb doesn't look too much on the cameras, but I'm sure when you're driving, it's quite significant. And if anything, maybe just behind Arthur LeHook getting involved as well in the coming laps.
Yeah, absolutely. Is Thompson's right now running a little bit quicker lap time, has an opportunity Beetleman going in turn 1, going uphill. Still a great battle right now. Josh Thompson's only starting to close in the gap a little bit. Last lap times was about 0.2 of a second gap, so it's still very close. And overall, the GTE field is still within only 3 seconds for the top 5.
Path coming under big pressure, the race clutch driver under pressure from Neil Andrews. These guys have had plenty of battles over the past few months. I remember Andrews and Hart were fighting for the title 2 seasons ago. Hart won out in that one. Of course, he also beat Pascal Stix in a very tight battle last season as well. So he's certainly the expert in this car, but Neil Andrews putting up a very good challenge. Currently, these two pulling away from Alex Jenner, who once again is back with us, and it's good to see him around. He was very strong at Sebring. A new driver seemingly to the series. Andrews needs to make sure he doesn't pick up those 1Xs, because that penultimate corner in particular, Tyler, it's very easy to reach your 17X limit in an hour of driving this track.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with turn 1, it's like, especially as we're looking at Johan, you have to. It's a late braking corner. You get on the brakes very late, but if you can't hit that apex just right, you're going to be sliding really far off track, and that's where you're going to get a lot of your incident points. And it's very the big disadvantage if you end up having that happen to you.
Yeah, Pascal Stix currently fighting with Josh Thompson still. This was how he managed to defend previously, and to really go side by side. Thompson seemingly strong into the turn 10 hairpin, but Swan Stix is putting up a fantastic fight. Often we see this GTE car not necessarily easy to overtake with. So if Thompson can get the move done, well, that would be quite significant. It's not a car necessarily that you just follow one another around the circuit, changing positions. A move here could be decisive, despite it being relatively early on.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, as watching this battle going on right now, Pascal Stix still has a small little gap ahead of him. But Josh Thompson's staying in the wind right now. I almost want to say, if I was Josh in this scenario right now, as we're only roughly 10 minutes in, I would just stay behind him and just, like, looking at the field strategy. These guys can go 30 minutes to 45 minutes and be able to short stint it. But the way this race is going, you could almost want to split it half and half and take a little bit less fuel at the 30-minute mark, and then just work on trying to be a little bit more fuel strategy and be able to try to get some quicker times as the laps go by. But it'll be interesting to see what Josh's strategy is going to be, is whether he's going to try to pass Pascal or hang behind him like he is right now.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting. He seems to be quite eager to make the move, and if anyone's going to make an overtake, it's going to be Josh Thompson, as we've seen plenty on Apex Racing TV, as we turn our attention back to Johan Hart, still defending from Neil Andrews. Andrews not usually the most kind of rash driver. He'll take his time, I'm sure, and Johan Hart is very rarely doesn't finish a race. He's got very good consistency. And so, it's not going to be easy here for Andrews. And they're now 6 seconds ahead of P3, so really are dominating those two. Hamilton has got ahead of Farrow, I've just seen. And it's still very close between those two, 0.3 of a second. But it seems as though Marcus Hamilton has moved up into the top 2 positions.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like he's pulling away as well, and just watching Matt right now, and I'm just looking in on the cockpit view. It looks like he's struggling trying to get the power down. There's a few times that he's just gotten on the power and he just didn't get the speed like he is, as he is using the boost now, trying to stay right up to him. He's gonna look at the inside. Not gonna be able to make it happen, as he's got GTE field as well. He's got to navigate. Made it through cleanly as they're heading into the very notorious S's here at Circuit of the America.
We just saw a replay of Marcus Hamilton's brilliant move, using the traffic to his advantage. And, well, he had to leave plenty of room, had to be very spatially aware to pull off the overtake. You can see how Farrow, well, he's going to be right on his tail. It's all about getting the launch now. You know what? Farrow may have just nailed that, but to be fair, Hamilton also was very strong. And going into this next hairpin, it's so easy to lock up the tyres in this car with the energy recovery system. And again, taking a very wide line, a very clever line there from Farrow. He's really driving this well. He's right on the tail of Marcus Hamilton, not using as much power you can see. However, whilst that may disadvantage him right now, he could catch up by the end of the lap again as he goes for a bold move down the inside of the GTE. And Hamilton, if anything, going a little bit wide himself. And Farrow is keeping him very honest currently.
Absolutely, is Farah's doing pretty well right now, and my timing's going crazy. But it's been overall still great battles. Farah's trying to keep up with Hamilton, but Hamilton's just getting that better run, especially coming in on the back straightaway. But it's still Farah's using the boost at the right time to stay within half a second, maybe even 0.3 of a second, trying to keep within his draft and not let him get too far out.
Yeah, so just get past the 24 car. That is Ricardo Almeida. That is a lap down car, of course, but they aren't far off the leader currently. And here are the leaders of the P2 class, Hearth versus Andrews. And it's 1.5 tenths. Hearth is ahead, and we might even go 3 wide. But Andrews' thoughts about it, you can see how willing he is to stay close under the brakes. Most drivers would maybe brake a little bit earlier just to leave that margin for error. But you can see how confident Andrews is, and confident in where Hearth is going to brake as well. Feels that confidence to be able to stay right on his tails. So we've got 3 really nice lead class battles as John Thompson is really close to the back of Stick still. Doesn't get an awesome exit though, but you've got to feel as though with these wide turnings for these hairpins, maybe he could go for a sneak attack into one of them.
Yeah, especially on the long straight, he'll have enough arrow draft that he can be able to try to sneak out of there, but it looks like he's getting on the brakes a lot earlier than Pascal is. So looks like he's playing a very conservative role right now, which I wouldn't be surprised if, especially trying to go on the fuel saving right off the bat, trying to see if he could take advantage of the overcut on Pascal as the race goes by.
Yeah, maybe listening to your advice earlier on. Seemed to have really good straight line speed as well, Josh Thompson. So I don't know if it's maybe the Ford which is particularly strong down the straights. I know in the past you've kind of had to run the Ford even around circuits like Daytona or Monza on 3 wing because it's just so overstay. So maybe they've fixed that, or maybe it's just incredibly fast now down the straights. Got a little bit more torque. I think that was added at the last build. And he's making the most of that at the moment, Josh Thompson, but still in second place in that GTE field. And still Hearth holding on at the moment. They're now 8 seconds clear of 3rd and 4th trainer. Pulling away a little bit from Pereira. And then it's Maga Hayes as well. Not too many HPDs out there, unfortunately. Of course, this is the only split today. So a little bit disappointing, but of course this is a circuit that divides opinion more than most. And maybe most drivers trying to stay away from tackling this place as Andrews is right on the tail. Hearth just about hanging on still.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, it's 0.3 of a second right now, and Andrews trying to see if he can work his way around Johan. Johan struggled a little bit there in the corners and now Johan's starting to pull a little bit of a gap. Andrews is able to keep that tighter line. Is that tighter line going to help at all? Doesn't look like it's going to help him much, but he might have an opportunity coming out in the last turn if he wants to take advantage. Ooh, looks like he was going to take advantage there, but he decided to hold off at the last second. Going down the start-finish line, it's still going to be Johan Hearth leading the HPD.
Yeah, on to lap 8 we go. And he looks to the inside here. Andrews always almost into the back of him. And, well, I was talking earlier how confident he was to stay right on the tail in the braking zone. Well, that's the risk that you play because it's a small difference in braking between the 2 drivers, and that could have been very much worse than it was. And, of course, if anything, it's going to be the driver behind who's going to lose out because losing a bit of your splits can really ruin your straight line speeders. Thompson still close to Sticks. It's up to 0.6 of a second, but, of course, the traffic. And maybe this is going to be his best chance to take advantage. Quite a long lap here, so he shouldn't have too much lap traffic. But you can see some of the LMP ones coming through right now.
Yeah, absolutely. As the racing's definitely getting interesting. Thompson's lap times, when you look at it, it almost looks as if Thompson's got the quicker car as one of the other LMP cars. I couldn't tell which LMP car that was. I believe that was Daniel Goodyear going around.
Sorry to interrupt. We just got side by side between Hearth and Andrews as well. So And Angie's was really very close to Hearth there. He's looking for every which way to get past. I thought Hearth maybe going for a dive on the GTE. Now, will he be able to find a way through? Yes, he does very cleverly. The GTE staying well out of the way. They're both really offline there, the two HPD leaders. But still, Hearth is hanging on. But it really seems as though Angie's has got the advantage on pace right now.
Yeah, at one point going through that very tight corners there, it almost looked as if Andrew was about ready to give Johan the bumper there and cause him to spin out. But it was a good catch though at the last second for Johan Hearth not to get hit by Neil Andrews.
Flashing his lights to try to get past. How many will he get past here? He's got one. I don't think he's going to get any others here, and that will again allow Andrews to get close as hard right on the inside. Saw a gap, went for it, and through this part of the circuit, you can't really overtake, but can Hearth get past the GTE. Now Andrews has to make this move, and he's just about made it, but well, you could see how desperate he was to make that one. Otherwise, he would have lost a whole heap of time.
Yeah, he would have lost at least a good 3-4 seconds there.
Oh, and Hearth is off the circuit. The race leader, the championship leader, is off. He might be able to continue, but he's lost the lead for certain.
That was a big save there by Johan. That could have ended very disastrous quickly, as looked like he got a little bit loose there trying to avoid the Ford GT there.
Yeah, it just went into the back of the GT, it seemed. Was he just a bit confused of where to go? Yeah, I think he was. The Ford. Well, I don't think Hearth can really complain there. And going over the grass like that with that big jump that you just saw, it doesn't look too bad, but that can cause crucial floor damage. Now that he's going to have to catch back up to the race leader, that is anything but what he wanted.
Yeah, and because of that, he lost a good 2 seconds there, just from that incident alone. But with Johan should be able to get himself back, calm back down, and start getting around some of this GTE field to try to catch up to Neil Andrews. It's going to be a very interesting battle in the HPDs between Neil Andrews and Johan.
Just saying a replay of Thompson getting past Sticks. So Josh Thompson, now the GTE leader out there in his first showing in this series in that car. And he's driven the HPD a little bit in preparation for the Sports Car Open. But, well, he's really impressing in the GTE today for Thrustmaster Mibano's new team. And, yeah, that was a very simple move into the hairpin. Not too much defense from Sticks. And we'll wait to see if he can maybe retaliate later on in the event.
Absolutely. I think Pascal might have just let Josh by there and do reverse psychology on Josh and try to see if he could save fuel, but it looks like with Josh running a little bit quicker lap times than Pascal, I think Pascal's got to work on strategy wise for having the perfect stop, because it seems like Josh Thompson's even going each and every corner right now, it seems like Josh is just slowly pulling away on Pascal. As the gap's now up to 0.7 of a second, and it seems like it's going to keep gaining on Pascal if Pascal can't run some quick times like what Josh Thompson's doing currently.
Getting really interesting for the LMP1 lead. The one lead battle that we haven't really paid too much attention to yet. Marcus Hamilton dropped down to 3rd place on the front row of the grid at the start of the event on lap 1, but he's now got the gap to the lead down to just 1 second. And once again, Hamilton seemingly using quite a lot of power down this straight, really gaining about 0.3 then. That wasn't just from the slipstream, that was, I think, mainly down to his power deployment. He's only 0.8 of a second behind Tommaso Carla now for the LMP1 lead. I do believe they are teammates though, so this will be either a really uninteresting dynamic where they don't fight each other, or a very interesting dynamic where maybe they're willing to be a little bit more aggressive with one another.
Yeah, with looking at the paint teams, I believe they are teammates, and it will be interesting to see if they just run clean with each other and work together and pull away from the rest of the field. I mean, currently right now, both of them, whoa boy, and that was close. That was very close.
Small tap there for Marcus Hamilton, and the worrying thing there for Hamilton was that the GTE almost came around him in front of Hamilton, and that would have been massive damage, and his chances of the race went completely over. They will both have a clean run through the S's seemingly this time, though they will catch remarkably quickly, And you know what? Hamilton is closing hand over fist now, just 7/10 of a second.
Yeah, absolutely. Marcus, I agree with you. Marcus was able to avoid having a very big catastrophe there with that little tap, because that GTE car could have easily just turned right in front of him. That would have been race over for Marcus. He would have been just trying to salvage whatever he could afterward.
This is turning into a nice battle. Garcia versus Lemire. Or Lemire? Lemire? Not quite sure. Anyone on the chat want to enlighten us? Please be welcome. We haven't done too much name pronunciation chats this season, but well, maybe we'll bring it back. We've kind of learned how to pronounce our names, which is very, very good. Owl Thimoth currently racing against Deck and also Miles as well. These three very close to one another. They're quite kind of away from the rest of the field. They are having a nice battle amongst each other currently.
Yeah, right now looking at that battle, Garcia and Lemire right now only 7/10 of a second, and as they're closing in on the 3 of the GTE cars right now, and Garcia, woohoo, has a interesting battle just in front of him. My goodness, that could have been disastrous.
Oh, still got 3 wide though through a very narrow part of the circuit. They all leave a lot of room. That was good driving from everyone there. And, well, just about get through. I don't think there was any contact in the end, but there could have so easily been.
Yeah, absolutely. That was more like a hold your breath moment and hope nothing serious happens at all. Johan Hart's in the pit.
Wow. It's really, really... Well, I imagine that's to fix any damage that he picks up from going off the circuit. Yeah, a little bit of optionals done. Won't be able to change the tyres. I believe the tyres are done separately. And, well, he had to do something because he was losing time to the race leader.
Yeah, but it just seems a little early, though. I mean, granted, you're just about at that halfway point, right? As you're at just not getting the 25 minutes into the race, but that seems a little interesting, though.
Yeah, it's going to be tight, isn't it? For certain. This circuit uses a decent amount of fuel. It doesn't use a whole lot, doesn't use a whole little. But you're absolutely right. Usually the HPDs can go a maximum of 40 minutes, and he's going to have to go 48 minutes if he's going to get to the end of this race. Sorry, not 48 minutes, 38 minutes.
And it'll be interesting to see if that strategy pays off in the end. Well, definitely have to keep an eye on the battle and his lap times, because if he starts running a lot quicker lap times than the 29 of Alex Trainer and the 33 of Christian Pereira, as well as Neil Andrews, I'm sorry, as well, that'll be interesting to see what happens, because this is an interesting call by Johan. That's rare to see him pit as early as he is.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, with the damage that he picked up, he's not going to get a whole lot of that fixed though. So yeah, I'm doubting this currently because he's going to have to run a lot of fuel now for a significant period of time.
This just shook up the HPDs. Neil Andrews' internet dropped out on him.
Gosh. Yeah, received throughput faults to an unacceptable level. So, well, that's completely thrown this race open. It means that Alex Traynor now leads this race. Oh, Andrews, yeah, so this is a replay, sorry. And you can see it just disappears. Haven't seen any stuttering from him, so this is very unusual.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just from everything I was looking at, quality-wise, it seemed really fine. So that's never a good sign when you see a driver all of a sudden lose internet like that. So hopefully everything's alright.
Well, he has quickly reconnected, but well, that's not going to help him because he's going to be multiple laps down now. And like I said, Alex Traynor, who we're watching right now race leader. And well, it could be a very successful day for him because Johan Hart, with a bit of damage with that early pit stop, may just have opened this one up for a surprise victor today. One driver we haven't looked at too much today is Christopher Dambiet for Sorg Esports, and he's really a man on a mission. 2 seconds off the GT lead as we see a spinner. That wasn't Josh Thompson.
40. That was 42. I saw. That would be Von Glace. who is already a few laps down of the leaders of the GTE.
Yeah, so struggling out there currently as we see an overtake for, Runier just goes off the circuit. Golden Tops gets past. And that was, I'm not for sure what position that was in the GT field. It's quite far down, but still good for Roy.
Absolutely, it's a very huge GTE field. I believe I want to say there's about almost 30 GTE cars in the field.
Yeah, there are plenty of them. 18 to 46. So, maths, 28, 29, 29, yeah. I think, cars
20,
out there.
Yeah, 29 or 28 cars. That's a pretty big field for the GTE.
Yeah, absolutely huge. Because, like I said earlier on, the single split today. So that's the reason why we have so many GTEs out there.
Ooh, good pass here for the GTEs with Christopher Damzy and Pascal 6. Chris, the 10 looked on the inside trying to get around Pascal, just couldn't get it to stick as the 7 is coming around now to, that's Matthew Faro trying to go around them on the outside.
Yeah, Dambiet's really trying to get this one done. They are losing each other time. They've just lost about 0.8 of a second because of that batswing. And Josh Thompson, he didn't really need any assistance, but he is getting some at the moment. But you feel as though if Dambiet's can get this move done nice and quickly, he could start putting some pressure on Thompson out in there. Of course, Thompson won the feature race in the Apex Racing 3.5 Renault League the other day. And so he's a man on a high, certainly a man at his peak currently, and so he's a very strong opponent in today's race.
Absolutely, and the times are showing it too. As looking at the most recent lap times, Thompson right now is 2 minute and 1.8, while both Pascal and Christopher are both with them fighting left and right. They're running 2026s right now, so that's a good almost a good second gap difference between Josh and the second and third place GTE field fighting for second. So this is going to be really good for Josh Thompson if this keeps up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really starting to establish some dominance currently. Here's Alex Traynot struggling to establish some dominance himself because he's still got Christian Pereira right on his tail. Pereira had dropped back a little bit during the traffic, but seemingly has closed up in recent laps. On that last lap, he was 0.8 of a second faster, and so his lead bats for the HPD. Well, thankfully, we haven't lost it because it seemed as though when Hart had his mistake, it was all done and dusted, but with Andrews disconnecting, this is kind of the lead battle at the moment. Of course, watch out for Hart later on because he pitted a bit earlier, and on that last lap was significantly faster than these two drivers. Yeah, a couple of seconds faster, in fact. So he's going to be very strong at the end of this one.
Yeah, looking at the times right now, the gap from Johan Hart, the gap from him to Alex Traynor right now is 19 seconds, but right now Johan Hart's running 156.5s compared to Alex Traynor with a 158 and Christian Pereira running 157 too. So Johan Hart's definitely going to be a man on a mission right now if he wants to try to take advantage of Neil Andrews having the unfortunate disconnect. And Johan Hart's going to have to really push this car to the limit if he wants to have any opportunity on trying to get back and catch up for the lead.
Yeah, he's going to have a little bit of damage on that car after that off earlier on, but certainly if the top two pitted now, Hart would inherit the race lead. So it's kind of down to Traynor now to establish some good laps, but Pereira is right on his tail. And that's not always the best thing for you. Admittedly, it can be a fantastic thing as well when you're absolutely pushing as hard as you can to pull away from the driver behind, as we almost see a move there from Pereira. Not sure if that was deliberate or not, but he just has to settle in behind through the S's.
Yeah, at one point I thought Christian was going to lock up the brakes completely and T-bone Alex Traynor there. Good catch by Christian, as that could have been disastrous for both of them. But still going. Christian did lose a few seconds, only 0.8 of a second now. He behind Alex, but he should be able to catch back up and try to make an opportunity on making a pass again.
Yeah, expect this one to go on for a while to the checker flag you'd expect. Going back to the LMP1 lead, also Lamaya's just got past Garcia as well in the LMP1 field, but Tommaso Carlet still leading the way. Is he? Yes, he is. He's pulled away, has he, from the couple of drivers behind. Marcus Hamilton now 3 seconds behind. Farrow's really dropped off these guys. He's now 10 seconds off the race lead, so it's certainly going to be a battle between the teammates is this one, but Farrow's still looking very strong for a podium as it stands. These guys are actually going to be into the pits very soon. They can really go more than about 35 minutes on fuel, so expect them in the next 5 minutes, obviously, as we are now at halfway. And well, yeah, on that last lap, Hamilton was 1 second and 1/10 slower than Tommaso Carla. So, well, I thought it was just a matter of time until Marcus got past Tommaso. But yeah, looks as though Carla has now responded to his teammates' pace.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially, I wonder if the tire fall off's hurting him as well. As Marcus right now is, I mean, almost a full second slower than Tommaso Carla right now. Probably Tommaso's trying to run a different strategy and probably being able to get more aggressive getting around the lap cars as well. And it just could be just the luck of Marcus trying to fight around the different lap traffic as well. Ooh, boy, that was...
Yeah, so Carla was adamant that he was going to go around the outside there. The Porsche was adamant that he was going to go around the outside there, though. It didn't end well, and Carla, well, it could have ended even worse for him, because could have easily lost his front end as Garcia nearly does the same to Lemire. And is he going to have a little bit of extra energy to deploy here? Pending Lemire just pulling away slightly, 0.6 of a second, going up to 0.7 of a second now, so certainly not a move down into turn 10 hairpin. But this one, well, this has been a very interesting battle up to this point with them navigating traffic as we pay again our attention to the battle for second and third in the GTEs.
Yeah, as Pascal is still hanging on just by 0.5 of a second over Christopher D'Ambrosini. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it.
I just say Dambiets, but I'm not sure.
Dambiets. Yeah, we'll have to find out sooner. I know I probably I can say some of the names right, but then other times I just completely butcher them.
Oh, he's still really putting some pressure on sticks, but the Ava Vertic driver hanging on, and once again, these two going at it. Lamaya going back past Garcia, and Garcia almost loses the car. They do have traction control, but that was just mid-corner, I think, pretty much, and sliding the car around. And once you do get a slide in that LMP1, it's very difficult to catch as Pereira comes into the pits. He was second in the HBDs.
Yeah, but he's going to try to see if he can take advantage of the overtake as he's pulling into a stall now. And we'll see how long it takes for him to get in the pits, sitting in the pit stall as one of the GTE cars is leaving now, and that would be Stefan St. Charles, the 44. Overall, a good race for him right now. He's moved up 6 positions from his current place right now.
Yeah, not a bad effort whatsoever. We'll be interested to see where is Hearth in relation to the HBD who just pitted. So Hearth back up into second place. How far ahead is he of Pereira?
11, looks like 12-second gap over Christian Pereira.
Wow. Okay, so quite significant there. Of course, Pereira was on the same piece of tarmac as Traynor, so expect Hearth to have about a 10-second lead once all the pit stops have sorted themselves out.
Yeah, as Traynor right now is worked around the GTE field, and it looked like he had the 34 Daniel Goodger going around him earlier. So 20-second gap, but it looks like it's going to be interesting when he does decide to pit, because he'll have a little less fuel, and hopefully if he doesn't take tires, it might even be close depending on how long it takes and if he's able to have that decent pit stop going into the pits.
Getting back close again for the LMP1 lead. Carla only 1 second ahead of Hamilton. We spoke a couple of minutes ago how it had gone down to 3.5 sorry, gone up to 3.5 seconds. But once again, Hamilton responding, and we are now in pit stop territory. Expect one of these guys to pit on this lap, if not both of them. Of course, a little bit of traffic just coming up. You really don't want to follow a GTE car into the pits. And actually, they're both staying out again. So the slightly longer stints for the LMP1 seemingly this season. We saw at Sebring they went a little bit further. And we're seeing the same today as the gap now comes down to just 0.5 of a second.
Absolutely. I'm almost curious if iRacing did a update where somewhere with the LMP1s where they're lasting a little bit longer fuel-wise because of the hybrids. I'm curious.
Yeah, I imagine it's just that they're allowed a little bit more fuel now, maybe 10% more fuel because it was quite small. Not sure what the limits are. Or is it no limits? I'm not quite sure. We'll have to wait and see. But as Scrivens now comes into the pit, so maybe a sign that we are getting close to some pit stops in this class.
Absolutely is. There's a few more GTE cars are also coming into the pits as Yvonne, as it just disappeared on me, as he was just coming out of the pits. Pierre Benoit Lemire is also just coming out of the pits as well. So it's definitely getting to that fuel window for these LMP.
You know, we've got Escuda currently battling Patel. A battle we haven't seen too much of. There's plenty of these GTE battles, and apologies if we're not paying too much attention to them. But we've got such fantastic battles elsewhere, particularly for the race leads. And of course, these guys at the race leads, these are, 5K plus drivers, really are very top drivers. As they stay out again. Well, I'm completely wrong with this fuel strategy, seemingly. Carla going to hang on once again. The gap is smaller than it was on the last lap. And once again, Hamilton, he really does apply a lot of energy down these long straights. And it's enabling him to get really close into the several hairpins that we have around this circuit. Now, can Carla get ahead of the GT and maybe make a break from Hamilton now? They'll both get past quite easy. And of course, through this part of the circuit, no chance whatsoever. It's all about just lining up the move. And, well, once again, it seems as though Hamilton has the edge on pace.
Absolutely. Looking at it now, you get last lap time, Marcus Hamilton 144.9, Tommaso Carla 145.2. So it's still very quick with the with Marcus Hamilton running a little bit quicker, but it's definitely, the times are definitely starting to get a little bit closer. So it'll be interesting when it comes to pitting. I think the pitting, depending on who's better going in and out of the pits, is going to be the one that makes or breaks this battle.
Yeah, definitely. There is a certain discrepancy between the drivers when it comes to pit entry. I heard Sebastian Vettel is awful at pit entries, according to Mark Webber. He always drops a few tenths. I'm sure that's the case with these drivers as well. It's something that a lot of drivers don't practice, but it is worth it. Certainly in these sprint races, despite it being an hour long. Surely this time they'll be in, as we see Garcia. Well, he was having an awesome battle earlier on with Lemire. I think that battle's probably over now with that half spin.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate there. It just looked like the car got out of shape. But it was still a good catch that he went sideways, but it was still just unfortunate luck for Garcia.
Carla just pulling away a little bit that lap. It's all down to traffic currently with the gap between the two leaders. As well, yeah, that was the incident for Garcia at the turn one hairpin. Actually, all the hairpins look the same, I must say, so it's quite confusing commentating on them. But yeah, that was certainly at turn one. He's only just ahead of Daniel Goodger, I think, as well. That's how much time he's lost, and now I think he's lost that position, and that was the replay. Apologies. I can't tell if it's a replay or not, but there you go. And yeah, that was how he had the spin, not it?
I'm keeping an eye on the GT, on the LMP2 battle with Trainer and Johan Hart. Johan Hart, it looks like Johan had a little bit of issues there for a little bit, or Alex Trainer was starting to run a little bit quicker lap times. Johan Hart's only is 22 seconds now behind Alex Trainer, so, and he's not closing in as quickly as well. So this LMP2 battle is going to get real interesting, as Alex still has not gone into the pits yet.
Yeah, pushing it as long as he possibly can. And yeah, got good pace currently, Trainer. But of course, he lost so much time in those opening stages where he's losing about 1.5 seconds a lap to Half. But since Half picked up that damage, they have been very even to one another. Now, surely, after calling that they'll pit some 10 minutes ago, they're still not pitting. Extraordinary fuel at the moment. They must just have literally no restrictions on these LMP1 cars anymore in this series. I'll certainly check on the forums later on, because last season they could only just about get to the halfway mark. This season, going 2/3 distance, and going further than the P2s. Of course, the GTEs will be in about 5 minutes as well.
Absolutely, as Alex Trainer still has not pitted yet, but that gap, I've been keeping an eye on the gap. It's definitely dropped a little bit. It still hasn't dropped quickly enough, but Johan's starting to put the power down now, as he ran a 153.5 compared to Alex Trainer's 154.8. So it's going to get interesting. LMP2, this is going to get really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's still getting very interesting in the GTEs as well. Thompson's failed to really pull away too significantly. 4 seconds. It hasn't gone up really at all. Maybe gone up by about a second in the last 15 minutes or so. And still, Dambietz just cannot get that move done. We saw the move into turn 1, just wasn't confident enough. And you've got to be really brave on the brakes there, because he can brake so late into that turn 1 because of the fact that it's uphill, but he didn't have the confidence. And Styx has defended superbly so far in this event. He's going to have to defend for 20 more minutes if he's going to claim that second position.
Yep, and I just got a pit update that Mikel Garcia, he just is now in the pits for in the LMP1.
And the top 2 stay out again. Gosh, 42 minutes into the race now. Yeah,
this is unbelievable. I mean, I never would have thought that
Farah's missed the pits, so he had to come into the pits there, but I assume he's not allowed to do that. Oh, and second and third round, Styx and Dambietz.
Oh boy, looks like Styx had some issues, big issues. Wow, I'm just watching a little bit of replay. Looked like just a little bit of contact, but great save. But man, Dambriers is in the pits as well now for.
Yeah, so maybe a little bit of damage on that car, wanting to fix it straight away. As the HPD leader is into the pit, so it's all coming alive now. Alex Trainer, he should be behind Johan Hart, and you can see how far ahead Hart is. He's looking very strong for a race victory, despite that off earlier on. Now, where's Trainer in comparison to Pereira? That's going to be the big question. I think Pereira is actually ahead of him. So Trainer seemed to have good pace, and yet he's come out behind Pereira up into second place.
Yeah, it looks like Trainer lost this 1.8 seconds there, but it'll be interesting with Trainer having the lighter fuel load now after coming in the pits. He's got an opportunity to try to catch up, so that'll be interesting. But Johan Hart, like we said earlier, with Pereira and Trainer both hitting at the same time, Johan Hart's got a 11-second gap over Christian Pereira and Alex Trainer. So all Johan has to do is just keep it safe, and he should have an opportunity to be able to pull away with this win.
Yeah, he should be well en route to cross that checker flag first. Here are the 2 LMP1 leaders. Who's going to get the checker flag first out of these 2? Can Carla keep his pit stop nice and short? But Hamilton has had a little bit of a slipstream, and that might mean that he only has to take a couple of litres less. Of course, can drive through each other in the pit lane, so that's not going to be awful for Hamilton's. Carla gets away. He's ahead of Hamilton. He had a 1 second shorter pit stop, and that's really strong for Tommaso Carla. He exits the pits with a 2-second lead.
Absolutely. So definitely, Carla must have used a little bit less fuel than Hamilton. So it's still almost. Actually, when I'm looking at the pit time, Hamilton had a 16.8 second pit stop time, while Tommaso Carla had a 15 second pit time. So it was actually almost 2 seconds there, and that difference right there is showing on the gap. Is it's right now 1.9 second gap over ahead of Marcus Hamilton as Tommaso Carla.
Yes, that could be decisive, that. Hamilton's failed to really launch a big attack so far, but you feel as though he's got the pace in him to challenge the number 1 car, number 1 versus number 3. Barrow is quite significantly behind these guys. In fact, only 10 seconds behind, so he's been able to maintain that gap in recent laps, but lost a lot in the early stages, and therefore he's not going to be able to challenge those 2 teammates as hard. Just to clarify on the gap, yeah, 11 seconds, as you said earlier on, Tyler. And, well, could be a good battle between Pereira and Trainer to the end of this one. In the GTE, still they haven't pitted these guys. Thompson now 9 seconds ahead of Pascal 6. How's he done that in recent laps? That's quite incredible. So
There was a
with
crash
the
apparently.
spin, and
Crash.
yeah, completely forgot about that. And so yes, 9 seconds ahead. LeHook and Escuda now in 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, I mean, Thompson now, he's just got to play it safe. And once he comes into the pits, I mean, with Pascal 6 haven't pitting yet, Arthur LeHouk in the 2, it's more or less a top 5 in GTE so far has not pitted. Actually, top 8 haven't pitted yet for GTE. So Josh's got to clean. Whenever he decides to pit, he'll have an opportunity to stay ahead of the lead and potentially even leapfrog, just like how we saw with Johan Harth, of how he was able to leapfrog with pitting early as well.
Scooter loses out there to, Scooter gets the move done on LeHouk. LeHouk left himself really vulnerable. We've also often seen moves at that part of the circuit. And yeah, just left himself too open there and got overtaken down the inside. I expect these guys in certainly within the next 5 minutes or so, although they've already got 47 minutes again. Very impressive on fuel, seemingly this circuit of the Americas circuit not consuming too much petrol for these guys, or diesel in the case of the 18, I believe.
It's I'm kind of shocked, especially seeing note that the GTE field could be very decent with saving, but I usually would have expected about 4 or 5 minutes or 40 minutes. I'm very shocked to see that it's been almost 50 minutes as the right now we're going to get ready to complete 38 minutes of the race, and the GTE are not just
As we have a little bit of technical issues with the audio server, and we've got 12 minutes left in this race, and we are having some nice battles all over the field while we wait to get back to our 2 commentators, Sam Fitzpatrick and Tyler Vickery. I guess it should be okay right now, guys.
Yes, we should be back. Yeah. Apologies for that. Just as Mike has said, some audio issues there on the server, so losing connection. But still, yeah, strange. Well, look at that. He's now battling for 4th position, I believe.
And Josh Thompson and Pascal 6 all in the pits, as well as Patel as well in the 11 car. And the 12 car in the GTE field, a scooter is staying out still.
So a nice lap for him to lead the race. I'm sure Guillem will appreciate that. As Traynor gets even closer to Pereira. Well, this one certainly isn't over. These two have been absolutely neck and neck through this race. Pereira got the advantage during the pit stops, but since those pit stops, he has been caught by Trainor by about a second over the past 5 laps or so. And with 10 minutes to go still plenty of time for stuff to happen. Because in the last season, we saw a dramatic finish to the LMP1 field, was the LMP1 leader by about 5 seconds, losing the car with just a handful of corners to go. Probably the most dramatic finish of the season. Hopefully we won't see a repeat of that next necessarily, but we should see some action certainly in the LMP1 class once again, because Marcus Hamilton has closed in once again and having to take some risk through the traffic in order to give himself a chance of victory. And you can see how close now Hamilton is. He's going to be able to go down the inside of the GTE. Is he going to be able to go down the inside of his teammate into turn 9? But no, just staying behind. Now, this is where Hamilton usually uses a lot of energy. But this time, seemingly using the same amount maybe as his teammate. He's got the option to go for the overtake, but he'd prefer just to reserve some energy, maybe for later on in the lap.
I wonder if he's in a big time save mode with power, and then when they get to roughly the final few laps, like the final lap, he might use it then, especially on that long backstretch. As Carlo's having issues trying to get around that GTE car there.
Yeah, just losing a little bit of time there for Carlo. And that means that if Hamilton has got a little bit more energy, he might be able to deploy some. Of course, the start-finish line comes up so quick at the start of, at the end of the lap. It means that you can't really deploy that much energy, you can't really save that much energy, but sometimes the drivers do a double tap as they just cross the finish line, use a little bit of energy down here to help their acceleration. You can see, if anything, once again, Carlo using a little bit more energy. Maybe you are totally right, Tyler, with Hamilton saving a bit of energy for the final couple of laps. So he's got a full battery entering those couple of laps.
Absolutely. It's only two tenths of a second gap as they're closing up on the GTE, Ford GT. Oh boy. That for a second there, I almost thought Marcus was looking at going to force it 3 wide in the S's. That would have been very dangerous for the Ford GT car. Oh, oh, okay. And Marcus, Tommaso Carla had looked like he had some rear wheels spin on him as Marcus Hamilton now took over the lead.
Yeah, so maybe that is going to be the defining moment. Has Carla got any response to that? And yeah, it was just a mistake in the end from Tommaso Carla. He can't really blame anyone but himself, as we just see it again on the replay. And that's so odd, because you've got traction control, of course, in this car. At that point, he'll actually be 4-wheel drive, because the extra ERS energy will be deployed on the front tyres. So you really ought to not have any issues like that. And he wasn't particularly wide either, but losing the car and, crucially, losing the lead of the race. But he's still within a second of his teammate.
Yeah, absolutely. It was really odd seeing him lose it there. At first I was thinking if it was driver error or what, but it was definitely interesting seeing that happen, as he lost 9 tenths of a second there because of.
Oh, we got a move in the HPDs, not quite. Opportunity there for Alex Trainor to go for second position, but he thought better of it. And crucially, going for a move at a corner like that loses you a couple of tenths, and that means that maybe his attempt at an attack for the next few corners could be hindered.
Yeah, as we're right now getting close to 6 minutes to go in the race, it's go time for a lot of these drivers, especially with Christian Pereira and Alex Trainor. And things are going to get really interesting very quick. As Pereira's going to dive in on the inside, trying to get a. Oh boy, Trainor had nowhere to go there. Was lucky not to hit the GTE car, but he's going to lose a lot of time because of.
Yeah, as the gap's up to 1 second, crucially. Slipstream effect really is quite weak in that HPD class, so kind of falling back behind second isn't necessarily game over. You have got to just catch up on pace regardless. As we see Carla still pressuring Hamilton. I thought Hamilton really had the pace and he was very much just waiting to extract the move. But we've seen today Carla beat Hamilton in qualifying. He managed to hold the lead in the early stages, and whilst Hamilton was able to close in by about 3 seconds early on in this race after getting stuck behind Matt Farrow, since then they've been absolutely even, and this is the first time that because Hamilton has been leading the race. Now, can Carla go for a move into turn 1? Is he willing to deploy a little bit more energy just to try to get track position, even though it might leave him vulnerable in a few corners' time?
I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting. He might take that opportunity, and especially now with Hamilton saving a little bit of it, saved that little bit of energy. Whoa! So we got a GTE car and spun in the middle of the S's. Don't know who that was. It was a Porsche though.
Yeah, I think it was Bevo Follen. He had the issue that spinning through the S's, of course, a lot of runoff, thankfully, and there it was, trying to correct the car, and a good dodge actually from the LMP1 as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a great catch there.
Carla just dropping a little bit back. He's got to just use the traffic to his advantage. He'll make sure that he gets past this HPD, who actually gets on the brakes just to help this lead battle down straight. And yeah, 0.6 of a second. No traffic visible for these guys. They've got 3.5 minutes to go. So they're going across the line with about 3 minutes to go. So 2 more laps after this one. Pretty simple. And they would have been expecting that. It's not going to be too close to the threshold. But of course, Carla did take a little bit less fuel. Is that going to maybe cost him later on? As they are approaching this pack of traffic, including Alex Traynor, who has not given up on second place in the P2 class. And he's still very close to Christian Pereira.
As Johan's pulling away, but that Christian Pereira and Alex Traynor battle, that's going to be one of the biggest battles so far, along with the LMP1s. Trainor's getting closer. The lap times are right now in Alex Trainor's favor. Last lap time for Traynor was a 1:55.8. The Christian Pereira's was a 1:56.1. So it's still anybody's guess between the battle for second between these two for the LMP2 field.
Oh, it's really close for the lead currently as it got very slow. GTE there, going through the middle. Marcus Hamilton. Well, he had to be bold there. We'll have to get an onboard of that in a few moments' time until this battle is resolved. Because it's really close now for Carla. He's benefits a little bit from that, but due to Hamilton's really daring drive, and Hamilton gets touched there, and round he goes, and the leader wants to gain lead. And Tommaso Carla, well, this should be a simple road to victory for him now. Hamilton has got back going. He's only 3 seconds behind, but well, I think it was the HPD he came across on Hamilton. We'll have to see that one once again.
Yeah, that was wow. That was the aggressive move. I thought I was going to clear it, and then just that very little touch, and that just ended it for Marcus. Marcus is probably just bummed out right now. He could still try to push it, but still with only 2 minutes to go in the race, it's going to be about 1 lap left, and that's going to practically do it roughly.
It was Christian Pereira who initiated the contact. If anything, it was just Pereira taking his normal racing line. There's so many different racing lines you can take at that corner, and we've seen in the GTEs and the LMP1 seemingly them taking a really late turn in. The HPDs maybe taking a slightly earlier turn in, and that was the confusion there for Pereira. Just turned in a little bit whilst Hamilton took a later apex, and well, in the end, they made contact. So certainly not deliberate there from Pereira, but maybe just a little bit clumsy from him to make contact. A bit disappointing because we were going to see an awesome battle for the LMP1 victory, but it seems as though it's over as Tommaso Carla is in the first sector of his final lap of the race.
Absolutely. As this should be, I believe this should be white flag, as I don't think they'll get back to the line in time for another lap.
Trainor's gone for it, and he's made contact. Who's going to win out of those two? And they're both disqualified. Well, we've seen Neil Andrews retiring from the race earlier on with connection issues. We've seen 2 more HPD frontrunners retiring, and well, that was, I think, just too bold there from Alex Trainer.
Yeah, it just looked like Alex tried to get a little aggressive, trying to get around Christian, and with both of them getting disqualified now from the race, that's just very hurtful there for both of them now.
They should still finish in 3rd and 4th places, I think, because there's only Maggle Hayes who's going to benefit from that one. Andrews is too far behind, I believe. He was already a lap down. As we see Tommaso Carla around the final few corners here, it's been an awesome battle between him and his teammate Marcus Hamilton for the victory in LMP1. But Tommaso Carla is going to be the one who wins out, maybe a little bit controversially. But he'll approach the final corner here at Circuit of the Americas. He's going to take round 3. And that's a very nice win for Tommaso Carla. Well done to him. Marcus Hamilton will finish in 2nd place. Johan Hart right behind. Well, it was a pretty simple drive for him in the end once Neil Andrews retired from the race. Maybe a little bit fortunate there for him, as we'll see Josh Thompson complete his final half lap of the race. Marcello Magalhaes has finished in 2nd position, and I believe Christian Pura and Alex Trainer will be 3rd and 4th, with Neil Andrews in 5th in the HPDs. And here comes Josh Thompson, 5 seconds ahead of Pascal Stix. So Stix has been able to close in a little bit recently, but well, it was really good. It's been a great job from Josh Thompson because he had to get that move done early on. And well, I don't think there's any doubt he's been the class of the field today.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when at the start of the race with Pascal holding the line that he was doing and just staying behind Pascal. But when you can see that he was getting running a lot of quicker lap times compared to the others, it was going to be, who knows how much longer would have been before Josh got around. And when he finally got around, he took full advantage of it and was able to pull away from the rest of the field. Great driving by Josh Thompson.
Yeah, that's Master Mabana. Then 1-2 in LMP1 and 1st place in GTE as well. So well done to that team. Of course, they've had plenty more success as well, and we'll certainly watch out for them. Going into 2019, of course, and all the events, I think Daytona they're traditionally very strong at. Plenty of opportunity to practice. Maybe that was why Thompson was in the GTE, maybe preparing for that event. Of course, the first special event with day-night transitions. Certainly very excited about that one. I'll just waiting for a couple of drivers to finish the race, I believe. There's a Neidhart, who actually finished pretty high up in the end, just yet to cross the line, and now he can take you through the final results from the race. And it's Tommaso Carla winning out in the LMP1 field ahead of Marcus Hamilton. Fantastic battle between the two of them. Matt Farah only 10 seconds off the lead in the end, the championship challenger. A very good performance from him. There's Dylan Scrivens, the best of the rest, within a minute of the leaders. And there's Jan Strange, Daniel Guja, and then it was Lamar Garcia, Almeida, Simonis, Noteboom, and Newman as well. Last three of them. Retirements in the HPDs, well, it's quite a controversial race. In the end, Johan Hart wins out there, and Marcello Magalhaes, well, he'll be delighted with that one. Starting last, then really didn't do too much, but to be fair, stayed on the lead lap and gets a 2nd position in return. Christian Pura was 3rd ahead of Alex Trainer, those two getting disqualified on the last lap of the race. Neil Andrews had a connection issue. If it sort of could have certainly have been a win for him if it weren't for that. Josh Thompson had to overtake Pascal Stix in the end for a race victory in the GTE. Stix will be pleased with that result after contact in the closing stages. Guillaume Escuda did well to claim a podium from, I think, 10th on the grid. So really well done to him. 11th on the grid, apologies. Really good from him. Christopher Dembiet was in 4th, and it was Mohamed Patel, Carlos Villa, Mario Brabek. There's Dennis Neidhart, and behind that was Lynch, Deck, Waldock, Branwich, Cox, Miles, Pers, Alphamov, Myringer, Busianis, Gulden Tops, Hellemans, Huesma, Runa, McCald, Lehook, Bollen, Tessator, Martinez, St. Charles, Vine, and place, rounding out the GTE field. And hopefully we'll get some interviews with drivers coming up. Although currently, we do have Josh. Of course, we can rely on Josh Thompson to give us an interview. And Josh, well done to you. Really tight battle, certainly in the opening stages out there. But after that, you made it look quite simple. Did you have a big pace advantage over the other cars, or was it due to their battling that you managed to pull a gap?
Ciao, Josh. Is he here?
Though Josh isn't where. I swear he just joined the
Wait,
Discord.
yeah.
Okay.
I forgot I'm on push to talk. I'm on YouTube.
Okay.
I started talking.
That'll do it. Well, that ought to do it.
Yeah, overall, I didn't have a massive pace advantage, I don't feel. The cars are quite even. I was quite surprised how fast Sticks was at the start of the race. In the traction zones, the Ferrari seemed to have a little bit more than I thought it would have, so took a bit longer than I thought to get back past, because obviously I was a bit dawdling on the start, being on pole, not used to being up there, so... But no, I think their battling did aid me getting away. It was only a few attempts a lap, so I just kept to my own delta the entire race and just slowly pulled the gap.
Yeah, certainly was very effective in the end. We haven't seen you running this series too much in the past. Are you preparing for any specific event, or is this GT running just a bit for fun?
No, I've obviously now switched over to GT like full time now as part of the pro campaign this season. So I will be doing this more often. I'll probably do it every week. And also it's with Sports Car Open next weekend. And obviously I'm on double duty doing the pro qualifiers at Monza and then this on the Sunday. So I'm using this week as my test week for that event. So overall, I'm quite happy with the pace side with just the baseline set we've made over the week.
Yeah, definitely was really good out there. And also with the fuel strategy, did you have to think about that all the way close? Was it marginal, maybe doing an extra lap? Because we saw a couple of drivers being able to eke out one extra lap compared to maybe the front runners.
Yeah, I didn't fuel save enough when I was behind Pascal. I knew I had a little bit of a pace advantage, so I tried just to go for it straight away. I think if I saved fuel, I could have done an extra lap. But either way, I didn't know how much fuel to put in the car. As my JRT, I couldn't have it open because I was having huge issues with like frame drops and stuff. I don't know why. A lot of people had that apparently in the session, so I had to guess on the fuel anyway. So putting 5 laps extra in the car, so the gap went from 10 seconds to 4, and then the tires dropping off at the end. I was happy just to bring it home, really.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great drive in the end, Josh. And before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, so you guys are broadcasting, great as always, especially doing it today. Everyone at Movano, like I can't thank those guys. Without them, I wouldn't be where I am. So massive thank you to them.
Thanks, Josh. And will we see you on Sunday for the 3.5 League?
Yeah, I'll be back for that.
Awesome.
100%.
See you then.
See you then, guys.
Well, I think that pretty much rounds us off for today. I'm frantically looking for which track is next in the schedule, and it is the Nordschleife, we have just been told. It's the proper one, a 24-hour circuit. We've never seen that track in this series, Tyler. It's going to be an interesting one, certainly, particularly with the lapping, particularly with the multi-class factor.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be an interesting one. I don't know, honestly. I don't know what to expect, especially with seeing these LMP cars with the Nordschleife apart. I've never seen the LMP ones drive around that track other than just the little tribute thing that Porsche did that one time. But it's gonna get interesting. I don't know I honestly don't know what to expect with it, but it'll definitely be an interesting race, especially with it being an hour. I believe it'll still be an hour long, or they might increase it to a 90-minute race. But it'll be interesting, especially with that big of a track.
I can tell you one thing, guys. It's either going to be extremely good or extremely bad. In any case, that's a perfectly good reason to tune in next week on Apex Racing TV, because it's going to be certainly a unique kind of racing.
Yeah, definitely. And also, it starts at 6:24 in the evening. It is April the 1st, though, so it's going to be sunset for that race. So that'll be another element to add as well. That's going to be absolutely fascinating. Certainly do tune in. Thanks for tuning in today anyway. Great to see about 40 people watching at any one time. So really do appreciate it. And of course, if you haven't already, leave a like on the video and give the channel a subscribe as well. And also check out our Facebook page as well. But for now, from me, from Tyler, and from Mark as well, we'll say goodbye and we'll see you next time.